across the endless horizons of ancient China, where the Yellow River flowed like the lifeblood of civilization and the dragon-shaped ridges of the Qingling Mountains split the earth between north and south, a new power was rising. It was the year 206 BCE. The Qin, tyrannical and short-lived, had fallen like a brittle jade sculpture, fractured under the weight of its own ambition. In its place emerged a dynasty that would redefine the very soul of a civilization. This was the Han. It was an age of fire and silk, of brush and blade, of stars charted with bamboo strips and armies commanded by the pulse of heaven's mandate. From the fertile cradle of the central plains to the steppes of the west, from coastal ports swelling with salt and fish to snow-covered peaks where time itself seemed to sleep, the Han Dynasty stretched not just across geography, but across the human imagination. Under Liu Bang, once a peasant, now an emperor cloaked in jade, the Han began its rise not with thunder, but with an idea that a unified people, governed with wisdom, protected by strength, and inspired by culture, could build something eternal. For 4 centuries, the Han were not merely rulers, they were architects of a golden age. Their capitals, Chang'an and Luoyang, stood as testaments to a world reborn, vast metropolises of marble colonnades and wooden pagodas, their streets alive with merchants, monks, scholars, and soldiers. Here, the scent of spiced wine mingled with the iron tang of forge fires. The air danced with the sound of bronze bells and the whisper of Confucian teachings recited by children under cypress trees. The dynasty pulsed with rhythm, of ceremony, of innovation, of empire. This was a civilization on the march. The Han expanded beyond the heartland. They pierced through deserts and mountains, annexed kingdoms, and brokered diplomacy with nomads and kings. It was under their banner that the Silk Road unfurled, a golden artery stretching from Xi'an to the Mediterranean, ferrying silk, tea, jade, and dreams across continents. Camels walked in solemn procession, their shadows long against burning sands, their backs burdened with treasure. Alongside them moved ideas, Buddhism from India, philosophies from Persia, even Roman glassware that shimmered under Chinese suns. And yet, it was not conquest alone that gilded this era. The Han peered into the heavens and found purpose. Astronomers traced the wandering stars, predicting eclipses with astonishing precision. Mathematicians calculated the unseen, while doctors documented acupuncture points on bamboo scrolls still intact 2 millennia later. The invention of paper, a miracle of mulberry bark and ingenuity, forever changed the transmission of knowledge, lifting words off the fragile bones of oracle scripts and onto leaves that could be carried through empires. The way of heaven lies not in force, but in harmony. Under the Han, Confucianism rose like incense, sacred, guiding, omnipresent. It was more than philosophy, it became law, custom, and compass. Emperors ruled as sons of heaven, bound not only to the people below but to the stars above. Civil service examinations, rooted in merit rather than birth, offered a ladder of hope to even the humblest villagers. It was a vision radical in its time, and transformative in all that followed. But even golden ages cast shadows. Behind palace walls, power brewed and boiled. Eunuchs whispered into imperial ears. Empresses plodded through silken veils. Famine came and went like ghosts on horseback. Rebellions lit the countryside in bursts of red and ash. And yet, the Han endured. They adapted, reformed, split, and returned. The later Han, wounded but unyielding, revived the pulse of empire. They deepened the reach of administration, tightened the grip on outposts, and opened the gates of education to thousands. Temples rose, dedicated to deified emperors and celestial gods. Trade intensified. Art flourished. The written word expanded, preserving not just laws and taxes, but poetry, dreams, and grief. By the 2nd century CE, the Han stood at the summit of ancient Asia. To the east, Korea bowed. To the south, Vietnam paid tribute. To the west, caravans rolled with golden thread and scented oils. And within, the people, some 60 million strong, lived under an order that, while imperfect, promised something rare, a glimpse of eternity. And then, as all great dynasties do, it began to crack. Warlords rose like weeds through stone. The court, once brilliant, dimmed under the weight of intrigue. The Yellow Turban Rebellion erupted like fire from parched earth, a people's cry against corruption and hunger. The empire, stretched and splintered, could no longer hold its shape. In 220 CE, the Han fell, not with a bang, but with a long, aching breath. Yet, the legacy did not vanish. In every dynasty that followed, the Han were the mirror. Tang, Song, Ming, all looked back to the golden tapestry woven centuries before. They emulated its structures, its virtues, its very name. Even today, more than 90% of China's people identify not just as Chinese, but as Han. Because in the grand theater of time, some stories echo beyond the curtain. Some flames flicker but do not die. And some names, etched in the stone of civilization, endure as both foundation and firelight. He who rules by virtue is like the North Star, forever fixed, while all the other stars revolve around it. This is the story of a dynasty that lit the world with innovation, bound it with culture, and ruled it with the belief that power, tempered with wisdom, could forge not just an empire, but an identity. This is the Han Dynasty. And so begins China's Golden Age.